If you are a web developer, a communication expert, cloud engineer, graphics designer, data visualization expert, or even an online MOOC teacher, yeah, I'm taking a shot at our own business model right now. You'd be wondering, it's not going to touch me. Artificial intelligence is not going to touch me. Well, think again. Markets will be in turmoil. So today we have a pandemic, and in a few years we'll have another crisis that'll hit us. Jobless recovery has become a new norm in this society. So where does that leave you, me, and everyone else? In this talk, I'll take you into this journey where upskilling in AI, especially in a crisis, is the best and the most reliable bet you should be taking today. I'll talk about the state of the industry. We'll talk about threats and opportunities in the new AI economy. And finally, I'll offer you an upskilling route that I have created for you that has helped me personally in the past 20 years. And I've experienced a bunch of market crashes myself. So let's dive in. Job or jobs for the future. That's a challenge and kind of like a dilemma we all are actually in the midst today. We are surrounded by a pandemic today that is literally destroying our healthcare fabric. It's moving into economic destruction, and we're kind of wondering, how do we figure out what is the job, what are the skills that I need for the future? So welcome everybody. I'm really super excited to be here to give you a little bit of a perspective of my own career journey, and I hope the next 20 to 30 minutes will help you get a little bit of a perspective on what we can do. So this is my 20 years of experience in this industry, and I'm hoping to share with you some of my experiences and how it has helped me in my career. And I hope this rubs off a little bit for you guys as well as we move forward. So let's get started. So my name is Terry Singh. I'm a co-founder and principal AI instructor, I should be saying, principal AI instructor at Live AI, which is a startup which we have just co-founded. Just a week ago, we went live, and we're super excited to actually bring applied AI essentials, our popular track, to the industry. I have also co-founded and I'm CEO of a research company. So Deep Cafe is a research firm that actually focuses on cutting-edge research in climate AI, in healthcare, in energy sector, in neurosciences, and we are moving into several really interesting domains. Cura A is a healthcare company, and Real AI is the company where we bring applied AI to the world. So this is what we do. And myself, I've been 25 plus years in this industry and have experience working in various industries as well as in academia. So I'm hoping to kind of share my 25 plus years of experiences. I really appreciate your patience and you being here listening to this talk. Awesome. So the future of jobs is at risk. Again, the future of job is being sort of hit by yet another pandemic. I don't have to talk about it today. You know about it. We are sitting in the middle of this storm. So what do we do next? The markets have always been volatile. If you just look at from 1890s all the way heading to 2010, and moving forward today, if you were 2020, you have your pandemic or COVID-19 is probably going to be hitting all those charts, breaking probably records of these charts already. So the markets are always going to be volatile, and more so volatile than in the past. This is a reality we cannot escape. Jobless recovery has become a new norm. We have seen this in 2000, we've seen this in 2010 or 2008, 2010 time frame. So according to Investopedia, a jobless recovery is a situation where economic recovery is occurring without a corresponding improvement to unemployment. And this is what you're going to be seeing, how this whole thing is playing out. So the situation arises where companies have invested in automation and outsourcing to reduce their efforts. And this is going to happen again in the next couple of years. So I'm just giving you a sort of heads up front. A jobless recovery is meant to save a company's future. It may not necessarily correspond to saving your career or your future. So this is what I saw yesterday. So Joe Weisenthal, he is a writer at Bloomberg, and he just published this report. You could sign up here. So basically what he's saying is, a lot of things is, there is another sign of a deepening economic damage. I mean, it is coming. We know it's happening. So, I mean, if you look here, the unemployment is down even in the work from home industries. And you'll be wondering, well, I didn't expect when my boss told me that I could work from home that my job is going to be affected. Well, the reality is the economy is in itself deep trouble, and we need to figure out a way to be part of this automation. And if our job is on the other side of automation, which is not automation, then I think our jobs, even if they were work from home jobs, are not protected. Awesome. So let's take a look at the threat and the opportunity in the AI economy, which is emerging today. So we need to have we take a stock of what is really happening in this economy. So jobs have a shelf life. It's a reality. We've been used to, the baby boomer generation has benefited probably the most after the Second World War. Keeping their jobs for decades, and that kind of became sort of an expectation of the future generations. But clearly, I mean, I am from the 70s generation. I was born in the 70s. And for me, especially in the mid 2005, I started experiencing that it doesn't relate to the generation that come after these generations. But I also insist that it does not always have to be a bad thing. So this is a very popular jobs upscale route I had created. So today I'll be sharing with you live a new version of this infographic, which you should find interesting. It is based on an interesting research done by two researchers from Oxford University in 2013. And what it actually looks at is, what are the jobs that are at risk? So you see here. And there are some jobs, if you look at the yellow, these are the jobs that are stable or probably at no risk for now. I mean, I could still raise questions around this physical therapist. I would say, well, at some point in time, robotics probably might change that. But I mean, for now, this research was conducted in 2013. And back then, they ran a bunch of simple machine learning models to actually give how the jobs are at risk. So I just written it down here. A credit analyst job is at risk. A postal service clerk job could also face elimination. A customer support, technical writers, technical support. And then I started raising questions here as well. Business managers. Well, we'll see how things are going to evolve. And here I posted this, I think 2014, I wrote this article, has been trending on Forbes and many news media for the last 5-6 years. These were the jobs I had projected will be the jobs that will, where you should be focusing on. Obviously, you have the jobs here, for example, these ones, but I also challenged these jobs' safety, if you will, as we have seen AI really improving dramatically and optimizing our model, how we work, how things are sort of all the mundane tasks that people have to do. So artificial intelligence is definitely kind of, giving you a wake-up call, if you will. Next. So this is a sort of cut out of this paper, as I mentioned. So Carl Benedict Frey and Michael A. Osborne, they had written this research. You can download this link and read this. It's a wonderful research. You need to take a look at what it means. So here, basically, you're seeing this kind of like a valley where you have jobs that are at risk. And as you can see here, so the probability of unemployment for jobs that are in this zone, for example, the red one is your sales-related jobs. The pink would be the service-related jobs. And then you'd have orange could be your office, administrative support-related jobs. And at some point of a time, I guess, production jobs are also going to be at risk. So automation was eating jobs even way before AI came in. And automation obviously does that as it optimizes your job, and you need to get smarter in what you do and not continuing to sort of, sink yourself into mundane tasks. So this is sort of, if you see on an employment scale, and versus the probability of computerization. So these guys are already in the 80% zone, and that is kind of really scary because a huge workforce contributes to this industry as well. Now, my challenge to the audience today, to you today, is that many jobs in this region actually are moving in this area. So this is going to happen as well. Let's take a look. So hyper automation, and there is a Forbes article I've written. If you just search for Terry Forbes, you're going to find that article as well. It's also trending and is being shared wildly on internet today. It talks about AI has started eating software. So if you just search this, AI has started eating software, and Terry, you're going to find this job. So what is this? What is happening actually today? So hyper automation is definitely making a lot of tasks simpler, efficient. They're optimizing their tasks, but it does definitely start affecting how we look at our jobs. So, and where does this leave you? Where does this leave you? So I remember I raised this question, a web developer, should you be worried about your job? Let's just take a look what this does actually. So in this case, if you were a web developer or a web designer, you could literally, you don't need those technical skills, one would argue. You could write in simple English things like large text that says, welcome to a newsletter, and a button that says subscribe. Any pop and mom shop, any small mid-sized business could be creating their own marketing newsletters based on whatever they think is making sense for their business. And even enterprises and large enterprises would be subscribing to this. And at some point of a time, this is going to be a large software company. Many companies will adopt these models. And what you're going to see is that the industry will start adopting these automated tools. And then your question you need to be asking yourself is, if you're a traditional web developer and you're a traditional web designer, do you see this as an opportunity? Do you see this as a threat? Next. You're a cloud engineer and you're thinking, well, I made this awesome model. I'll spend all these insane amount of hours to actually deploy these models. Well, I got news for you today. There are models already today that actually are automated. You can deploy by using, for example, GPT is the pre-trained model in NLP that actually does that already. So you're essentially just, creating and updating and deploying your models into production. So essentially, a lot of your mundane jobs, if you were a cloud engineer, which you thought, I really don't have to worry about it, it's going to start taking a lot of automation out of your hands, and for example, making a lot of interesting things out there and creating and deploying models on the fly. And then you got to keep sort of moving up the ladder and keep advancing into your career. But if you do not, it's one thing is pretty sure: you'll have to see in how much of this is actually an opportunity versus when does it become a threat. Next. If you're a communication expert and you're looking at sending sort of, I struggle for instance myself a lot when I'm deep into technology and I have to make sort of communication message sense making needs to be coming into my message. And I need a communication expert to help me. But today, if you can see this example on Google, it starts kind of already filling in the blanks for you to start advising you. And there's a software company also called Grammarly that does that. But at some point of a time, automation is going to catch up and you're going to start crafting amazing communication messages to each other, which is fantastic. And then you start asking, well, in how much do I need a communication expert in this? So if you were yourself a communication expert, do you see this as an opportunity or do you see this as a threat? Next. Now, if you were a data visualization expert, now you'd be thinking, well, Terry's gone crazy now. So, this is a job and, I've been training on these jobs for taking all these online courses. But I can tell you a lot of these, jobs such as, data analysis and automation and asking your plots and your visualization, you could plainly ask in simple English. In this case, for example, just take a look at it here. So it's asking, things like, show me a scatter plot of daily precipitation over time, and asking a lot of questions. So essentially what you're seeing is it's coming back to our basic human skills, which is to be able to think, to be able to ask questions in very simple plain English, and asking over and over and over and improving these models. So if you were a data visualization expert and your job is to report to your senior management, now would you see this amazing innovation as an opportunity or a threat? Next. Now, okay, I took a shot at myself. So obviously, we're already looking at the online MOOC industry as not just some video copy, paste, and share, and you think you've created an online platform. We're looking at this. For example, if you were an online teacher or at a university, or an academic is creating all kinds of large and complex curriculum to teach your students, and then you have to deal with all these frustrating questions people keep asking, what is Java? Well, what is Python? What does this thing do, for example? And now you're simply asking questions. So what does this code do, for example, if you're looking at it? It tells you what it does, and essentially it gives you all kinds of answers. So you're kind of already having a tool that has become a teacher. This is all sort of part of this revolution which AI is. It's taking all this immense amount of information and does that. For example, you just look at it yourself, and you can replay this video to see what this tool is doing. Again, a fascinating tool that actually starts grabbing all the wealth of information that has been put into all these online software platforms like GitHub, Stack Overflow, and Quora, and potentially LinkedIn, and are your own internal knowledge-based systems, and it starts becoming the teacher. And this automated way of keeping and sort of making you and keeping you in control of your knowledge, and teaching you and learning with you, and together becoming sort of part of you, is what online education is going to be look like. This is going to be a big transformation in the world of education as well. So if you were a traditional academic or someone building MOOC platforms, do you see this as an opportunity, or do you see this as a threat? Okay, so we took a bit of sort of examples, and there are like hundreds of examples today. If you look at what GPT-3 is, and we have a workshop as well, and you can take a look at our Live AI page, liveai.eu. We have an events page, and we already covered GPT. For those interested, just go and take a look at our GPT, where one of our entrepreneurs who's actually been building a lot of GPT models has given a very interesting talk. For those interested, take a look at that. So what I'm trying to say is that hyper automation is also creating opportunities. So it's not just a threat that we just kind of revisited with these few examples. There's a lot of opportunity as well in what is happening. So let's take a look. So you saw me sort of, this is something I had created in 2014 timeframe, and went really viral on social media in the last couple of years. So I'm actually super excited to present to you some couple of new opportunities where you should be looking at. I mean, it doesn't really matter which age or what background you're from, and what I'm trying to kind of give you a perspective of is, how does the world look like? So we've already seen the jobs at risks. We've also seen that many of these jobs, which we were calling future jobs, have become the jobs of today. Now let's start taking a look at what else is coming out here. So just taking, looking at the brain engineering or brain sciences project. You've seen obviously Neuralink. Obviously, Elon Musk announced Neuralink, and today, they have this wonderful a live session as well, where they had small cochlear implants on pigs. So that's just a future of jobs that is coming today. So I mean, millions of jobs will be created. Elon Musk himself mentioned that at some point of time in the future they'll have hundreds, if not thousands, of people working just for Neuralink. And this is the future I really believe in as well. I mean, just look at this, just as an example. So brain print engineer, these jobs are going to be there to try to sort of, help you build, reconstruct, optimize, potentially even erase, traumatic memories out of your brain. Thoughts. So if you're a thoughts engineer, you could actually sort of, you could be a thoughts advisor. Many things. So today, the world is dealing with a lot of, conundrum you see on social media. I'm looking at many of these technologies will start helping us optimize our time and our life and online and real life balance. There are going to be sort of people advising you on live events. So live events logging advisor. What else should you be posting? So there's going to be a lot of these services coming online. Today, internet is still a wild west. I foresee this getting a lot better as we continue to sort of improve, because eventually we have to make sure that every technology that we are developing has to save humanity. If you're not able to save humanity, then any technological innovation, in my opinion, is a waste. Does not serve the purpose. And this way you can keep going on. So brain-machine interface engineers, these jobs are already becoming real. There's a lot more. There's a lot more. You're going to have visions advisor. You're going to have intention decoding engineer. You're going to have dementia engineer, which is a favorite topic. We have a project in our healthcare live AI. We are calling it Project Depressio. So that is actually also to sort of focus and help you with depression, dementia, Alzheimer's, and many of these tools are going to start coming online in the next couple of years. And then you're going to see that brain engineering will not just be a scientific experiment, it'll be something embedded into a society, helping us with aging, with helping us with all kinds of challenges that we have at, with various stages of our lives. So this is the future that is actually emerging. Let's take a look at another industry. Looking at let's take a look at really this interesting area. Obviously, climate AI and how to move towards a sustainable future is a huge discussion in Europe. There's hundreds of billions, if not trillions, of dollars or euros will be spent to transition traditional industries towards sustainable industries. So we can reduce our carbon footprint and hopefully, by the end of this century, save the planet. But it's not going to happen if we are not able to use technology and specifically powered with artificial intelligence to do that. So, let's take a look at it. So what are those new areas emerging? So if you have been past this and you have been you've taken AI and understood this and applied it in whichever capacity, if you're an advisor, if you're a counselor, if you are a technologist, an engineer, or even a researcher, I mean, just look at the opportunity of these jobs today. So you could be an electric grid storage engineer, you could be large-scale CO2 capture engineer, and you could be an ambient RF energy harvester, synthetic jet fuels researcher. So an analyst roles as well. For example, consumer spot pricing analyst, understanding how consumers are storing and actually this demand and supply ecosystem where we will see us consuming energy and power and returning power back to the energy grids. So there will be new models, and there are more jobs actually coming out here. So I won't go into the details of these, but just take a look at these, and see how it sort of looks like. I'll make the PowerPoint, the PDF available for you guys to take a look at it. So this is a massive industry emerging. So the job opportunities in this industry are actually today. A lot of things already have started happening. For example, artificial hydrogen photosynthesis specialist. These kind of jobs are all going to be start coming. A lot of research going on. Cheap concentrated solar engineer. So there's a lot of things out there that are going to help you. Let's take a look at space. Obviously today, I mean, we keep mentioning and going back to one entrepreneur, Elon Musk, has been doing some wonderful job actually to literally show that you can build the future. So if you just look at this is already in space, there are going to be a lot of jobs. There are going to be data scientists working already on projects, on lunar projects and even Mars projects that are coming in the next decade or so. In order to do that, we all have to walk together hand in hand to understand what we can do to work towards this industry. So, space battery engineer, there's going to be biotech data scientist, fusion power engineer. So there are going to be a lot of jobs, and all these jobs will need they will need artificial intelligence, one form of artificial intelligence, whether it is machine learning or deep learning technologies. And this field is really, really expanding. I'll summarize all these and tell you how and why this is happening today, because I'm just telling you what today. And I'm going to summarize this in the end to tell you, actually, to make some sense out of this, why this is happening. All right. So, there's a lot of lunar base engineer, Mars drilling engineer. There's going to be a lot of interesting jobs coming. So we need to focus on these jobs. We need to learn these skills, specifically into artificial intelligence, that'll power all these jobs. These jobs are not automatically going to invent themselves. We have to create them. We have to embody them. We have to personify these jobs. All right. So the only path to success is investing in the future. Everybody tells you that, but just let's take a look at what it actually means in the real world. So I'm going to just tell you my personal story. So I'm not that old, but from 2000 all the way to 2020, when I started getting conscious about the world around me as a young professional, I started experiencing already a lot of things happening, and some things were intuitive, and some things were impulsive. But I just made sure that I constantly kept my eye open for new technologies. That was something I just wanted to know, even though I had no idea if those new technologies would give me jobs. So let's just take a look at this quick journey. So basically what you've seen me talk about in all these crises, so you have market crisis on one end. So market crisis is, there is no way to escape the market crisis at all. But what we also have is you have opportunity as well. So you do have opportunity in order to make this happen. So this is the opportunity, and technology continues to move, has its own trajectory, and this is, I guess, unfortunately, this is something we have no control of. So what do we want to focus on? Do we want to focus on where we have no control of, which paralyzes us, which kind of stifles us, or do we start looking at these industry shift that is happening here in this zone? So as you can imagine, internet infrastructure data were the emerging tech that was happening back then. And obviously internet bubble, there was the first SARS outbreak, and 9/11 was also an event that destroyed a lot of opportunities and jobs, and economic destruction was huge. But at the same time, internet infrastructure and data were the technologies where I was exposed to as a young person, but I had no idea how to make any sense out of it. That was because none of these technologies actually were offering any jobs. So there was an emerging tech, and back in the days, these companies like Amazon and VMware were little companies that started actually exploiting and moving fast in this direction. They passed through this growth phase, as you can see here, and eventually started becoming market leader. And they achieved scale. So Amazon itself as a company achieved scale pretty early, fairly early. VMware with this infrastructure technology started moving as well. So these companies were investing in the future while and optimizing, obviously. Amazon's trajectory in AWS, back in 2008 or something, AWS was launched, and just a handful of startups were doing stuff here. And I was also experimenting with some models with the Amazon extra capacity which they started offering. So this was just a service, and today it's a $30 billion business year on year. They went through the growth phase, and today AWS is also a huge phenomena. And now we are looking at a lot of things you're exposed to, whether it is TensorFlow, you have Amazon, MXNet, and then there's tools which are making things even more simpler for you. Facebook is also emerging super fast in the last couple of months, and PyTorch is increasingly seeing itself also in production environments for some companies. We'll see how this will evolve, because we're still in the early days. But I mean, who knows? So we don't know. I don't know. You don't know. Probably at some point of a time, would it be Amazon SageMaker tool, or would it be some other tool by Microsoft, or any other company, maybe in Europe or in Asia, that'll sort of simplify these complex things that we today look at as like, wow, machine learning and deep learning and massive data. So it's very important to keep observing how the industry evolves. And as you can see, there's opportunity and there are threats. And you need to constantly keep your eyes open for opportunity. Again, so what did I do with all this? So this is my journey. So I kind of started seeing, okay, where should I gain mastery in, and what are the things? So things keep coming and going, and you keep making choices in your career. What should I do now? What should I do next? What is important? What is relevant? What is not relevant? I'm not going to go into the details of all these sort of my career path, because it's obviously a story you cannot encapsulate in a few minutes. But in 20 years, I can tell you that I constantly focused on things that that I thought were important. So I came from software development, was my background. Database I started picking up early on in my career with some companies I worked with. And then obviously I started following the similar track of these companies, a few companies that I followed very, very actively. And then I started moving my career as well and learning all these skills. And obviously things like, management consulting skills also enhanced my understanding of business environments and knowing what the business needs. Because obviously you just cannot be a technologist. You need to serve and bring your products from labs to production. And management consulting has really helped me dramatically. Data analytics, I think, I picked up also quite early on. And today, Google, TensorFlow, and PyTorch, they were all originated in 2015. I picked them early on as well and started moving fast. And today, I myself do not see as a master. I just like to see myself as I'm at a professional level. This is just my pure objective analysis. It's my own objective analysis of what I think where I am. So. And obviously you need to do that for yourself as well. So, this is my journey. And these technologies I kind of kept an eye on. I said, okay, I need to focus on these technologies. Awesome. But how about you? So what is it that you are planning on? There's one thing I can tell you is that, you got to start learning like there's no tomorrow. Just go back and show you this. So, this is my personal story, involves also sort of risking and being jobless at a point where I was investing my time learning about this technology. This is 2000 time frame. There were no jobs. There were no full-fledged industry. These jobs are not flying off the shelf. So this was really dramatic. But I told myself that this is what I need to do, because this is an emerging market. I believed in certain technologies myself. This was a choice that I had to make. So I'm just showing you. And even at the adversity of losing my job, which happened in 9/11, I lost my job. My son was 3 months old, and I lost my job. And that actually really created a huge sort of chaos in my personal choices. I had to save, obviously take care of my family, and just wanted to be at some point in time that I could invest. Take immediate action to make sure that we can move on, and at the same time continue to keep burning the night oil to make sure that I did this as well. So that's why I just wanted to kind of show you that this is a really personal story I'm sharing with you, and I hope kind of resonates with you. You're in different age groups, but it really doesn't matter where you are. It's really important to start learning. It really is. Believe me, the investment of your learning today will pay off dramatically in the next couple of years. Believe me, you'll be a master in fields today you think you're a novice or a beginner. That's very important for you to do. So I just kind of said, what is your game plan? Because this is definitely going to happen. There's no chance you can bypass this. And hopefully, and if you continue to kind of focus and believe in the future, this should happen as well. So today we are stuck at machine learning, deep learning. They look complex and difficult things to learn, and in a few years they will become easy, mainstream, and there'll be tools and technologies that'll enable these for you to learn. So what is your game plan? And if these are the skills you're investing in today, definitely, this is the writing on the wall. You cannot avoid, that you can bypass machine learning or deep learning. So this is the writing on the wall. You need to make sure that you focus your time and your energy doing this. And as you will learn these, your understanding of these new emerging techniques will become easier. So I just plotted this. I don't know what's going to happen. Is student loan crisis, which is a sort of a huge problem. That is definitely sort of it's an axe hanging on our head, all of ours. I don't know, some environmental calamity. We'll be able to sort of reduce the carbon footprint. I don't know. There are many things we will not be able to do, but our hope is the opportunity that comes with technology. So this opportunity, we should definitely believe in. We should hold on to this. And I would really urge you to pay attention and start focusing on you. We all start as beginners. You move to becoming a professional, and then you move on to becoming a master. And your path is going to start looking like this. And I think this is where you should be investing in. And obviously, all these little steps are going to help you sort of move up the ladder. So make sure that you're obviously picking up the one there that is right in front of your face. And you know, I'm definitely an optimist. As much as I say, you know, we need to keep an eye open on what else is happening. Obviously, but we cannot control those events. So human innovation has always overcome fears. And I strongly believe that this is also something that is going to pass. I know we're going through some dramatic times, but it will pass. But we do need to take action to learn these new skills. We cannot save our jobs, our current jobs, or other problems if we do not understand. Today, the world is full and rife with data. And data is going to give and bring understanding. And understanding will make us become experts tomorrow and masters in the future. And this is what we need to do. So, you know, I'm again showing you the graph, and probably with a different sort of, you know, way, so you can kind of start looking at. And here you see the tech has continued to boost the growth. And it has continued to do so. And there are many charts online on internet that you can see. So, and fortunately, this is encouraging to see. And today you see the governments and also your local municipalities taking all the efforts to sort of rescue, because we know, we have seen what damage it does when it takes 19 years, when it takes 25 years. And this is, you know, the world between First and Second World War. And this recovery time is not what we have. We need to save ourselves. But fortunately, together, we can make this happen. And we can save this, save our jobs, and actually by investing in our future jobs. So we have to continue to focus that while we are in this recession, technology is going to be our wonderful answer to actually solving these problems. And learning artificial intelligence and machine learning is definitely going to help. And now, as I promised, I told you the what. I've been telling you what is happening and what I did. All these whats probably still don't ring a bell. And I can imagine as well. It's like, okay, sure. I mean, yeah, great. Good for you, man. But I think what I'm trying to say is why AI is going to power and fuel all these industries is the convergence of scientific computing, where supercomputing has started coming, was happening already in the 50s. And commercial computing, where, you know, companies like Apple, Microsoft, IBM started coming with their own PCs, started sort of bringing these. Today, the intersection of this commercial supercomputing is what AI is. This is what is AI. And supercomputing with massive quantities of data, which is video data, audio data, text data, sensor data, all these information will be fueling the economy, the AI economy. So the moment of truth of AI economy is already here. It's today, right now. And we have a window of the next 5 to 10 years. And I would say, even if you focus on the next 2 to 3 years to advance, you could actually get much ahead than the rest of the competition. So I would suggest that, you know, this is the writing on the wall. This is happening already, and we have arrived at the moment of truth. And this convergence of scientific and commercial computing is what is going to fuel the growth in the next decade. So what are the next steps? I think for you, it definitely makes a lot of sense to kind of focus on the emerging technologies, investing your time, making sure that you constantly keep learning on a daily basis is going to help you get there. So I hope you enjoyed this session. I really thank you a lot. I just wanted to give you a small plug. Obviously, we have, obviously with Live AI, our goal is to advance applied AI, meaning from industry domain perspective and AI domain perspective, to provide whatever that we can to our audience, to our followers, to our fellow and past students. And we've been working with tens of thousands of students in the past few years. And if you're interested, we have this. You can already take a look at this. If you're interested, you can take part of this this opportunity to get a 10% off I mean, I know it's a plug, but we've crafted this program, giving you a full exposure to all the key and essentials which our Applied AI program provides. So I hope if you're interested, take this opportunity and join the revolution. If you have any questions, obviously you can always mail us here at contact@liveai.eu, and I personally will answer these questions, so my team will answer. But thank you once again, and I'm very happy and open to take any questions if there are. Thanks very much.